Okay, so technically we're live, but like we do for all shows, what I'm gonna do is yell to my wife and make sure she can hear us. Hey, baby! Can you hear us on YouTube? Is it up yet? All right, so we're just gonna. Okay, we're gonna talk a little shit for a second. Hey, you said hold on still? All right. Hey, give me a quick A B C D E F G, Natalie.
A, B, C, D, and G.
Can you hear Natalie? Yes, as in yes, or yes and leave me the hell alone. Okay, she says both. All right, good. We're live. Natalie, thank you so much for coming on. I really, really appreciate it. Just to give the viewers some background, first of all, I got to shout out my guy, MC Paulie, slash, it may be with the IE or not, Paul. He set this up. I reached out to him, a kickboxing buddy of mine, and he told me, hey, man, I know the person you could talk to, and that's you. So Natalie, let me find the information I had from the post just to give the viewers a quick rundown of your experience. So, uh, Natalie Livingston, she's in the biomedical engineering. She's in a biomedical engineering program, PhD program at Johns Hopkins. I think I've heard of that school before. And it's Johns Hopkins, not John Hopkins, not John.
Oh, yeah.
I know
It's
it's a
with an
big.
S. People get very upset about
There
it.
we go. There we go. There we go.
Johns
Gotta
Hopkins.
have that whole thing on there. Let me actually put your lower third up here, up top as well, before I finish this good old rundown. For those who are watching or will be watching, please subscribe. Thank you very much. We're not throwing out you, blah, blah, blah. All right. So there's her information. So start over again. She's in the biomedical engineering program, PhD program at Johns Hopkins, number one in the world. Paul wanted to make sure he said that part. Develops biomaterials to fight cancer with extended applications in infectious diseases. Collaborates with the labs on vaccines or vaccine research and development, and is well studied in topics relating to, and what's that word? Immunotherapy?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's it.
that's it.
She's also able to talk some good shit. That's what he told me. Word for word verbatim. He said that.
Thanks, Paul. I hope you didn't hype me up too much.
That's my man. So thank you much, Paul, for setting this up. Thank you so much, Natalie, for coming on. And thank you for being patient as I run through the many technical errors with Skype and the platform I'm using. You were more than gracious with your time. So I really appreciate it.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm really glad to get a chance to share more information because I know people are super freaked out during this time and
yeah.
super bored in lockdown too. So
How are you doing other than wasting your time with me? How's the family? How's your health? Is everything okay for the most part?
good, yeah. Family's healthy so far.
Good.
Started working from home last week, so slowly getting adjusted to that, but good so far.
Yeah. It's definitely difficult for myself. It's one of those things where you always wish you could, like, man, I wish I could work from home, and then you realize this shit is actually difficult. You know, if you don't have the right setup, or I've noticed that just my clock almost like I'm always feeling like I'm not really at work. So like the next
Hmm.
day I wake up like, damn, I have to go back to work again. It's kind of weird. So
Yeah,
um,
I'm at the point where my apartment is like sparkling clean, and I still have not done any work yet.
I dig it. I dig it. We got to keep ourselves busy somehow. So we have a list of questions that you came up with. We have at least one fan question, if you want to call it that, and we'll just freestyle from there. But we're looking at maybe 30 minutes, if not less. And if like World War Z pops out, we'll just hop off the call and deal with it. So,
Yep.
all right. So first one up here. What exactly is a virus, and how does a viral infection start?
Hmm. So, a virus is a really, really small pathogen. To give some scale size, if you think about a human hair, one human hair,
Hmm.
if you divide that by 100, and if you divide a bacteria by 1,000, that's the size of a virus. So they're teeny, teeny, tiny little
Oh
things.
Jesus.
I'm a fucking nerd, so I made this
Ah.
paper.
Nice.
So if you zoom in on a virus, this is what you're going to see. It's basically got this protein shell, and then
Okay.
on the inside, it's what's called its genome. So, like all of its information that makes a virus a virus. And what's really interesting about viruses is they can't replicate on their own. So, like if you put bacteria on a dish or give it any kind of food that it likes, it'll
Mm-hmm.
just make babies and babies and babies.
Mm.
But a virus actually needs a host cell to infect.
Oh wow.
Um, so what happens is a viral cell, maybe it's on a surface because someone sneezed on your doorknob, and then you touched it, and then you touched your face, so near your nose, eyes, ears, or mouth. Then it'll start crawling through your body, and it'll find a cell to attach to. It'll go inside that cell, and then it actually kind of hijacks your cell's own machinery to start making more copies of itself.
Mm.
So that's essentially how it works. And also, let me know if I use too much jargon or not enough jargon.
No, you're good. I mean, I do have multiple PhDs in this shit, but I'll let for the layman's, I'll let them just catch up in Google. Dumb fucks.
Sure, sure.
Now I don't know if this is the right terminology to use, but shelf life. So like, let's say for instance, someone sneezes on a handle or something. How long does it last?
Hmm.
And when does it become, I guess, not as effective as like a virus? Like,
Yeah, that's a great question. So it's different for different viruses.
mm-hmm.
They actually just did a study on this specific virus. So I have the numbers here. So it's detectable in the air for up to 3 hours,
Oh shit.
up to 4 hours on copper, up to 24 hours on cardboard, and 2 to 3 days on plastic and stainless steel. So, I mean, those are
Jeez.
kind of scary numbers.
Yeah.
But the kind of caveat to that is that, even though it can last on a surface like cardboard up to 24 hours, by the end of that 24 hours, there's probably not enough of that virus left to actually infect you.
Mm.
They haven't done a study to look at like how much virus needs to be present on a surface for you to actually get sick from it. But it is something to think about, if you're ordering packages during this time, technically there could be virus particles on the cardboard box it's delivered in.
It's so
So,
crazy. It's like I touch my face all the time. I'm chewing my
yeah.
nails. I'm picking my nose. I'm just always doing something. And you never realize, number one, how much you do it until you're told not to do it to hope, to not infect
Hmm.
yourself. And then I'm just thinking like sometimes I may take some hand sanitizer and clean my hands off. But then I'll touch something that I didn't clean, and then I'll touch my phone. But then I'll touch that thing I
Yeah.
cleaned, but I didn't clean my phone. So it's like I'm trying to always
Hmm.
kind of like breadcrumbs of like what's the last thing I touched? When was the last time it was clean? And now I'm thinking about shelf life. I'm fucked. I'm fucked. So
Yeah, yeah. Biggest thing is what you just said. Try to not touch your face all the time, which is also super hard for me.
right.
So when I'm at home, I sit like this constantly.
And you ponder, just
Yeah.
ponder all day,
Just pondering.
just pondering. So let's move on to the next one. We have here COVID-19 symptoms. What's the reason behind them?
Hmm. So what I mentioned before is that since viruses can't replicate on their own, they have to infect a host cell or a human cell in
Mm.
order to make copies of itself. Um, your symptoms depend on what cells the virus tends to infect.
Oh wow.
And so, like I showed here on the surface of, sorry, it cut out for a second.
Oh, you got.
Anyway, so on the surface of the particles, it has proteins that interact with specific cell types.
Mm-hmm.
And so this COVID-19 likes to interact with the cells that are lining your upper and lower respiratory tract.
Mm.
So it tends to kind of harbor in your lungs, which is why the main symptoms of COVID-19 are going to be coughing, shortness of breath, things like that.
My goodness. That is crazy. And this is just again, I'm going to use some words that have nothing to do with science, but it's just like just the virus which we don't think was created. It just became that way. It wasn't like any kind of reason why it chooses to affect those type of cells or that type of. It's just like, hey, we're going to chill here. Or what, is there any reason behind that as well?
Um,
It's
that's
just
a
Is it like a regional thing? Like, yeah, viruses from this part of the world usually fuck with your respiratory tract versus maybe some of this part with this climate or people, we notice these type of viruses react this way. Or is it just random? Like a virus pops up and it's like, hey, I want to infect your eyeballs.
That's a good question. I mean, I think there are viruses out there that infect the whole spectrum of
Mm,
human cells and human organs. Um, yeah, beyond that though, I don't think we know too much.
just what it is.
Yeah.
Um, so next up, what is it about COVID-19 that leads to the spread or a spread in these proportions, the pandemic thing we're dealing with right now?
hmm so I thought I'd give a little bit of a history of coronaviruses. So the term coronavirus just refers to a type of virus. There's a lot of different types of coronaviruses. The most common one is actually just the common cold.
Hmm.
So pretty much everyone living right now has at some point been infected with a coronavirus, usually in the form of the common cold.
Just to interrupt you, that's the one where people you see they have the Clorox white box and they say, "Hey, look, Corona's been here. We knew about." That's another strand of the coronavirus
Yep.
that you're referring to. Okay, got it.
hmm Yep. So those aren't so bad because they typically just infect your upper respiratory tract, so nose and throat. Um, and then what makes this worse is, of course, that it can get to your lower respiratory tract, so into your lungs. And we've had two other big breakouts. There's been SARS and MERS.
I touched my face. I'm sorry. I was like, "Yeah, I'm getting sweaty. Let me go." All right, continue. I'm sorry.
Oh, you're good. Yeah, it's a hard habit to beat.
Fucking dumb.
Right, so we had a SARS and MERS outbreak. Some people in the audience might have remembered those. Those were also coronaviruses. But what's interesting about this one and what makes it kind of dangerous is that it's right in that sweet spot of it's not deadly enough like Ebola, where if you get Ebola, you're going to die before you have the chance to infect a lot of people.
Mm.
But it does cause enough worry or symptoms that it's not something that we don't care about. And then another interesting thing about it is you probably heard on the news is that you can be asymptomatic.
Yes, yes, yes.
Asymptomatic for they think up to 2 weeks, where during that time you don't know that you're sick, but you can be giving it to other people before you notice you have symptoms.
That's
So it's
scary.
not like that thing where you feel sick and then you stop coming into work and then
Right.
you're not able to spread it to people. You're probably already spreading it to people.
That is super scary because so from time to time, myself at least, I like to go see my grandparents or my mom, and these are people who are old and or have underlying conditions that you hear about a lot on the news.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, damn, it was a time. I'm going to be 100% honest with you. Not as bad as the kids in Florida or in California on the beach, but it was like, that's over there. We're okay. I'm healthy. I'm young. And when I heard about that incubation period, I'm like, shit, I could have it right now, show little zero symptoms, but pass it to the people I love and be one of the variables or one of the reasons why they're dead. And that's
Yeah.
really what kind of woke me up. It was like, okay,
Yeah.
you might live, but bro, you might kill some other people.
Right, right. And so that's, why it's so important to be staying at home as much as you possibly can.
Right.
Because you're right, someone like you and me, young and healthy, if we get it, I mean, that's going to suck for, the week that we have it. But we'll probably be fine. We'll experience, we can either even experience mild symptoms, or, something as severe as like a bad flu.
Right.
Um, but there's people that can't handle it as well as you and me, people
Right.
with, immunocompromised conditions, or the elderly, or babies under one. So, yeah,
Mm.
definitely important to stay inside.
Uh, I feel like I'm empowered by the knowledge, but I'm also fucking terrified. Let's go to the next question here. Um, pow, 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 pow. Let's pull this up. Lower third. And what do we have next? What protects us against COVID-19? And does soap and water slash hand sanitizer actually work?
hmm So some of the things we've talked about: stay inside, please, 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 as much as you can. Not touching your face. If you do leave and come back inside, immediately wash your hands
Mm.
before touching everything in your apartment, because it can last on those surfaces for a significant amount of time. Um, Soap and water and hand sanitizer do work a lot. Soap and water is going to be your best bet because not only does it kill the virus that's on your hands, but it physically washes it off as well.
Okay.
Um, Hand sanitizer, interestingly, it doesn't work for every pathogen, but it does work for COVID-19,
Mm.
so it is a good alternative. One thing with hand sanitizer, though, rub it in really thoroughly and then let it air dry. Don't be trying to dry it off quicker because the longer you have that alcohol on your hands,
Mm.
you're giving it a better chance to kill all those virus particles on your hand.
I see. I see. Man, that is so crazy. I'm just thinking. I'm still thinking about the shelf life. I'm like, okay, yeah, you got the hand sanitizer, and then the thing you thought was clean, you touched, and then
Mm-hmm.
now you're fucked again. Alrighty. All right. Okay. Next question up. Um, when the zombie apocalypse happened, no, I'm fucking with you. All right. Next question. How do vaccines work, and when can we expect to have one for COVID-19?
Mm-hmm. So the idea behind a vaccine is that it's going to train your body on how to fight back against a certain disease
Okay.
without you having to actually get it. So there's two parts to our immune system. There's one kind of weaker arm that works really quickly against pathogens,
Okay.
but there's the other part of our immune system called the adaptive immune system that takes a little bit to ramp up, but it's basically building up an army of cells that can very specifically kill um, cells infected with this virus.
Mm.
But it takes a while for your body to build up those cells. So the idea is that you're going to have a vaccine that helps you build up that army so it's already ready to go when you get infected. Uh-huh.
So I've heard something about herd immunizations or herd tolerance, meaning that sometimes, like you said, it could be like an introduction of a vaccine that helps calm the spread or just remove it altogether. But sometimes people, like a group of people, will just become immune to it, and that's what you're talking about with some of these cells.
Similar idea, yeah, yeah. Getting little exposures to it. So, not large enough exposures where you're going to get the virus,
Right.
but enough where your body can start working up. Um, I was actually listening to another podcast about COVID-19,
Mm-hmm.
and they brought up how some people were suggesting that maybe we should just all get COVID-19.
Mm.
Because a while ago, I don't know if you heard about like chickenpox parties. There's some moms that want to like purposefully get their kids together and give them all chickenpox at the same time so they get immune that way. Um, that is kind of the brute force way to do it.
Right.
We definitely don't want to do that with an illness as serious as COVID-19.
Right.
Um, so hopefully we'll have a vaccine that can do that for us. And in terms of when we can expect it, there's actually one company, the name is escaping me right now, that is already in clinical trials for a
Mm-hmm.
vaccine, which is much faster than we usually get vaccines out. But obviously, since this is an emergency situation, they're speeding up all the protocols. So, I mean, the soonest we could probably hope to get one is maybe 8 months to a year, but
Mm.
that's pretty optimistic. But probably at least in a year and a half, we'll have one. So likely it'll be after kind of the big storm of COVID-19.
Mm. So this is not one of the questions, but since you're an expert in all things concerning humanity, I'm gonna ask you, what the fuck do we do? Like, so I just read somewhere, and I hope it wasn't some kind of just bullshit article, but another doctor in Wuhan is saying that it's a chance of a second threat of infections to an area they thought was pretty much clean of them, from an outside visit. I believe was from Turkey. So what happens? Okay, we stop travel, we stop people going from places and large activities and stuff, and we get it under control, but we still don't have the vaccine, and we have another 6 month window. Do we? Is it? Do we expect? Actually, that kind of leads into your next question, but I'm just nervous of like, okay, how do we calm it or stop it or slow it if we don't have a vaccine for it, other
Mm-hmm.
than like trying to stay out of the way and stay clean or infection free. But like, how do we stop it? before the
Yeah,
vaccine?
it's a great question. Probably a better question for an epidemiologist and not a basic science person like me. Um, but I mean, some people have thrown around the idea that it might be very possible that we kind of do these cycles of kind of staying indoors. So we stay
Mm,
indoors for the next month, and then it clears up, and then we're allowed to go back, out and enjoy our regular lives, and then it flares up again, and then we have to go back in isolation. I
what
mean,
the
some people
fuck?
think that this is the way to go
Mm,
because, like, it might help the U.S. economy to do isolation in chunks like that.
mm,
Um, but yeah, I don't know, and I don't think anyone really knows yet.
mm.
This kind of pandemic on this scale is, interestingly, not something that's happened in, like, you know, the world where technology exists and social media exists and we can
Right,
get this information out fast. Um, so kind of a new territory here.
right. Man, that is so crazy. Crazy times we're living in. We have another question here, and I'm gonna pull it up. One moment, and my dog's trying to come in the room. Hey, babe, could you grab the dog before she fucks up everything? She's a trip. Spreading her COVID. That's not funny. Sorry. Um, will COVID be a reoccurring virus? Something we kind of alluded to earlier with the conversation. And what else can we prepare? What else should we be prepared for in the future?
So we don't know if it'll be a reoccurring virus. Like, we have the flu that
Mm-hmm.
comes seasonally, and we do have other coronaviruses, like I said, the common cold that just circulate constantly. So we don't know, but hopefully we will have that vaccine out so we can kind of tamper down. I mean, it's very possible that it becomes something that we all get vaccinated for as babies.
That's crazy.
It could be something like that. But yeah, we don't really know yet. And unfortunately, in these pandemics, we don't have a lot of the data until it's over.
Yeah.
So we'll just have to keep looking out for it. In terms of preparing for the future, I think one thing that this really did show us is that as a globe, we were really not
Not
at all
prepared.
even close to prepared
Not even a
for
little
something
bit.
like this. And, we have great public health experts that, if we had just sat down with, every government and just made a plan, this could have been so much better, and not gotten to nearly the proportions that it is, but we didn't have that. So hopefully, this is a wake up call. If something even more deadly with the same amount of, contagiousness comes out, we'll be better prepared for it.
Yeah. And um, personal experience. Not even so much preparation for the virus and how to not be infected, but more of just like the financial side of it. And like, I used to laugh at like preppers or people who had the bunks and the year's worth of food. Now it's not so fucking funny. Now it's like, you know what? These poos are like fighting over toilet paper and the dumbest shit. It's like, you know what? I need to actually prepare for, of course, everything we're talking about in this subject matter. But like, do you have enough food and water for your family? Do you have a way to protect yourself?
Mm-hmm.
Lines of communications in case something goes out. Like, these are things that we all just kind of like take for granted. Like, we have a slower lagging signal, and that's the worst part of our day. And now we're
Mm-hmm.
like inconvenienced to the point that we're experiencing now, and it could get worse. So it really opened my eyes. Like, okay, you think you know what you're doing, but you don't really have an idea, and no one else does too. So let's
Yeah.
let's let's change that thing.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
I think that's it for the list of questions we have. I do have a question from a friend of mine's who is a stewardess, a flight attendant. No, it's a flight attendant, right? It was a stewardess. Is that the same thing?
I think
Did I just make that shit up?
it's the same thing, but I think they prefer flight attendant now.
Oh shit! Is it like something you shouldn't say?
I think so.
Oh damn it! You know what? Well, fortunately for me, you told me to say you told me to say that. You said Nick, they really appreciate when you call them fucking stewardess. So I was like, all right, man, if that's what you want me to tell them. I'm just saying that's not cool. And you're like, stop being a punk.
You're gonna get me in trouble.
No, that's not what he said. Okay, so this is from Anna. Anna. She says, yeah, I want to know if we, as in the airline crew, are more immune to this shit. She must watch my show. Because none of my coworkers have gotten sick, and we work in airports, airplanes, day in and day out?
That's a really good question. I would say, in general, your friend is probably immune to a lot of things
Mm.
because she is exposed to so many different people on a daily basis and all of their germs. So she probably has immunity to a lot of things, but it seems like with this one, they haven't done really in-depth studies yet, but anecdotally, it looks like there's nothing, what they call prior immunity. So there's no disease that someone has gotten that would protect them against COVID-19.
Mm.
So it is, at least from the evidence that we have now, it's unlikely that she is more immune to this disease. I think it's more that she's been incredibly lucky. And it's an unfortunate line of work to be in during a pandemic. So I hope she's staying healthy.
Yes.
But I'd say, don't take your luck for granted. Keep washing your hands and everything.
Yeah.
And good luck to you.
Great point. Thank you so much for the question, Anna, and thank you so much for your time, Natalie. I'm going to ask you a few more things. Number one, I do have your screen name, your handle, NatCat. Was it Nate
Yeah.
Cat? NatCat14. I like that. That's really cool.
Yeah, my middle name's Katerina, so
Okay.
Nat.
I like it. Like it. Nice little ring to it. Sounds like you got a fire mixtape coming out soon, NatCat. So I'll be looking out for that. You, Megan Thee Stallion, and Nicki Minaj. What do you feel about like handshakes and some of the social gestures? At my job, we have people coming in for interviews, and now the culture has changed so much that we keeping this distance, and we're looking at maybe a year before the vaccine comes, and the residual damage and the PTSD type of stuff. Do you think like handshakes and the physicality that we're accustomed to is going to kind of be in the back burner, and as we get older, we'll be like, you remember those days you used to give handshakes or hugs and high fives, and now it's become nods, or to borrow from the Asian culture, like a bow? Do you think that's going to happen, or will we calm down?
I mean, I think eventually we'll go back to shaking hands, but definitely for the time being, stay away from people. They say a 6 foot radius is best because if you sneeze, that's kind of 6 feet away, you'll be protected.
Mm.
Uh, yeah, I don't know. It's hard to tell if things will go back to complete normal after this.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy times. Anything else you want to say in closing? Anybody you want to shout out? Uh, anything at all? I mean, we really appreciate your time. Is there any way they can contact you outside of Instagram? Is it an email that you take questions or concerns, or anything they could read about some of your work, or etc.?
Yeah, sure. I can give out my email if anyone has more questions that they want to give in. I can just give you to that after the show.
Okay.
Maybe you can put it in the comments or something.
Sounds good. Well, once again, thank you so much for being so patient, and for giving me some time out of your day. I hope that you and your loved ones, friends, family, even some of the people you hate, are doing okay. And I'll see you one day in the future. Maybe we get some kickboxing in, me, you, and Paul.
Yeah, sure. Let's do
Sounds
it.
good? All right. Thank you for all those who are watching. Please follow, subscribe, stalk, like, everything not safe for ears. Please make sure you follow NatCat14. She has a fire ass mixtape coming out called Rona. Listen, we're not trying to make fun of the disease, of the virus, and the harm it's causing. But a lot of times, people like myself use humor just to get through it. So we just want to bring you guys a little humor today and some more knowledge from qualified people like Natalie. And we'll see you guys soon, okay? Not safe for ears.
Thanks
Bye-bye.
for having me on.
Bye, Natalie. Thank you so much for being patient.
Bye.